What's up, guys? I'm BTC. Welcome back to the Respawn, where I answer your questions. Today we're talking third-person mode, Reaper getting Moira's Fade ability, and more. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like, it helps a lot. And if you're new, subscribe and hit that bell to get more. Let's get started. First question of the day. Does roll queue make the looking for group system pointless? Kinda. I wouldn't say it's completely useless, but yeah, I mean, one of the main reasons to use it is probably gone now. I mean, people are still gonna use it for getting, you know, the group XP bonus, and maybe if there's a specific comp that they want to run in competitive, but yeah, I think the usage of looking for a group is going to go down quite a bit. Next up, is it possible to destroy Symmetra's 5,000 hit point barrier before the timer ends? Yes, definitely. The easiest way is to just have Sombra EMP it, but if you want to use damage, then there's a couple of ultimates that work really well. Roadhog's does a huge amount of damage, and you don't have to worry about it spreading out, or even the knockback because it's a barrier, so that does a lot. And then Pharah's Barrage also does quite a bit. And also McCree can do a tremendous amount and break it by himself with his ultimate, provided that there's several characters on the other side. Because at half charge, McCree's ultimate will deal 2,000 damage. So if you can get a couple of enemies to stand on the other side of the barrier, and you get at least a half a charge, then you can fully destroy it. But the question is it worth it? In most cases, no. You're better off just going around it and trying to deal with it that way. With the new Moira change, can she fade out of a Reinhardt charge? Yes. She can fade out of everything now. I'm not going to go too in-depth on all of this right now because I am going to be making another video where I'm going to talk about this and some other things and how it's going to affect the game. But yes, she can fade out of everything. Sleep, Junkrat Trap, Reinhardt charge, Roadhog hook, everything. What are your thoughts on the slow effect changes? Does this make it really bad for Mei? And does she need some kind of compensation? No. So here's how it works. If there was multiple slowing effects on a character, it would cause them to get extra, right? They would take the slowing effect from all of the sources and they would kind of amplify each other. But now what happens is whichever character is providing the biggest slow effect, that's the one that takes effect, and it doesn't add all the other ones together. So, for example, if you were using the slow on a Reinhardt who had his barrier up, he would get the slow from having the barrier and the slow from getting hit by Mei. But now it's only going to be from Mei. So it's not like she's going to lose any of that. It's just, in some situations, there's not going to be extra slow from other things. Next up, do you think Overwatch is headed in a good direction? On some things, yes, definitely. They're making changes that are improving the game, absolutely. They're also doing some things that are questionable, right? Like with the events and stuff, and also they're being a little slow on a lot of things like releasing new characters and new lore and all that sort of stuff and new maps. Like, the amount of stuff that you get tends to be pretty slow, but some of the changes that they're making are definitely good. And credit where it's due. I mean, I think that 222 is going to be a pretty good improvement for the game. Next up, will Overwatch ever have a third-person mode? Well, it already is in the game for specific characters like Reinhardt holding up his barrier or Hammond in the ball, but are they going to add it for like Soldier 76 and all the others? No, I don't think it's going to happen, not in quick play or competitive. You know, maybe there might be an arcade game mode that uses it, but they're not going to add it into the normal game. Right now, you can do it in the workshop. There are certain game modes that you can make in workshop that will allow you to constantly have third person, or you can switch between first and third person depending on what you want. So it's already possible, you just have to use the workshop to do it. But are they going to do it in the regular game? I don't think so. Is 222 the promised but delayed third social feature that we were supposed to get last year? That's a really good question. I don't know. It might be. It might not be. The thing is they were talking about a third feature and they were saying that it was taking a lot longer than they expected. I guess it could be the 222, but Why would they announce the 222 role queue at the same time they were announcing the looking for group? Right? Like, from what I understand, they were making the role queue in response to looking for group not working as well as it should have. Although they did say that they were working on the role queue for over a year, and that would place it around the time frame of the looking for group. So, yeah, maybe it is. Maybe it is. Do you think older comps like Dive will be making a comeback due to Force 222? Well, Dive never really went away. I mean, it's always been a very strong comp. Even during GOATS, Dive or some version of it was still in the game. I mean, there were times when they would use a Dive version of GOATS where they would get rid of Reinhardt and they would swap in Winston, and they would just run, you know, Winston D.Va as, you know, the main front line, and they would go up there, and then you would have Zarya bubble one of them and stuff like that. So they were still running like Dive version of GOATS. Is it going to come back with 222? Definitely. Absolutely. I mean, you're going to see a bunch of bunker with Roadhog Orisa. You're still going to see some Reinhardt Zarya, but you're going to see a lot of Dive as well, for a certainty. Next up, do you think that 222 will prevent throwing? Absolutely not. There are a lot of reasons why people throw. And, you know, it could be as simple as someone, oh, you didn't heal me enough. Or why did you drop your barrier? Or why are you using Roadhog instead of Zarya? Or why are you using whatever? Like, there's so many reasons. It's not going to prevent it. I mean, maybe it'll lessen it to a slight amount, but it's definitely not going to prevent it. Next question. Is Brigitta a main healer now? And if not, why? Another good question. I don't think so. I mean, on paper, she has way more healing potential than she did before, but in practice, not so much. This is another one that I'm going to have to go into detail in another video, but there are some issues with the character. First of all, in order to activate one of your main healing, which is your passive Inspire, you have to hit them with your melee attack or with the whip shot. The problem is, Brigitta can't really get close anymore because your shield is basically tissue paper now, and if you try to get close, you just get destroyed. So you rely on your whip shot in order to get that Inspire passive up, but the problem is if the enemy has a barrier, then your whip shot can't activate because it's just going to hit the barrier. So, again, she can potentially do a lot more healing, but there's definitely issues with it. Next up, is the Mercy Super Jump considered a bug? Yes. It is definitely a bug because that's not how the ability is supposed to work. Are they going to get rid of it? I don't know, maybe. So, what the Mercy Super Jump falls into is a category known as tech, right? And this is kind of like the Moira Fade Boost or the Brigitta Shield Boost and some of the other things. These are things that you can do in the game that Blizzard didn't specifically add on purpose, right? Like, they didn't want it to be in the game. But the question is, does this bug make the game better or worse? And honestly, I think adding more things for Mercy to do and increasing the skill ceiling of the character is a good thing. And, you know, maybe they need to limit it a little bit on the height or something like that, but I've always been of the mind that these kinds of tech are good for the game because it's something that the better players can use and take advantage of, and you have to actually play and learn the game in order to know how to use them, for one, and also when they're going to be most effective. So I don't agree with Blizzard when they keep removing all of these different techs. I think they should be allowed to stay in the game. Next up, should Reapers Wraith Form be like the new Moira Fade ability where he gains immunity from stuns? I don't think that is a good idea at all. Reaper does about 10 times as much damage as Moira does, and one of the important counters that you need when he does get close is the ability to stun him or lock him in place and that sort of stuff. If he could just suddenly get away from all of that and not have to worry about it, then he could just absolutely destroy people. Now, would he be viable in the upper bracket at this point? Probably not still, because the main issue with Reaper is he can't get in close. He's a close range character that just doesn't have the ability to actually get in close. And oftentimes you need to use the Wraith form as an escape mechanism, so you can't really use it to get in close. But for the lower bracket, if they put in a change where Reaper's Wraith form does the same thing that Moroz Fade Boost does now, that would just be, it would be disastrous. He would just absolutely destroy everything. Like, there would be a Reaper in almost every single game. It would be that bad. So I don't think it would be a good idea to give Reaper that stun immunity. That's going to be all the questions for this week. Thank you to everyone who submitted one. Remember, I post the question card every Saturday in the community tab of my YouTube channel. That's where you have to look for it. Usually it's around noontime, sometimes a little bit later, but usually around noontime. And also you can find a list of all the previously asked questions on my Discord server. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to see more, subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss anything. Also, come hang out in my Discord server and my Twitch live stream. Special thanks to my Patreon supporters. If you'd like to see what kind of cool VIP rewards you can get, check the links down below. And remember, always blame the controller, because it's never your fault.